The Stardust Hour is a magnifying glass into philanthropic minds. Here you could learn about female talent, the divine feminine, women's leadership genius, and creative energy. I hope you will step into each inside story with an open mind so you could yourself reimagine who you could be next. Please join me, Marina Nani, on the Stardust Hour podcast for Rich Human magazine.
This session is really about blowing some of the myths out of the water in terms of who you think you have to be before you can, what you think you have to do before you can, because these stories are going to prove that your miracle is happening right now. You just might be missing it, and they're going to show you how to catch it. Songs inspire me so much, and Mary J. Blige's song in particular, Gonna Break Through. Those words, there ain't no telling what you're going through, but I'm going to take you, we're going to break through until you feel so good. That is exactly what this session is about. And I've got an amazing lineup of speakers who are going to be sharing their stories of exactly when they broke through with you. And all of these ladies I've had the pleasure of getting to know personally, and I've seen their growth. Some of them I've never even met. That's the power and beauty of this wonderful app we have here called Clubhouse. But that hasn't stopped us. It hasn't limited us from really growing and deepening our connections with each other. That's what this Daringly Awesome is all about, because sometimes we think that we have to have things in place. Everything's got to be perfect before we can. I've got to know someone for years, and we've got to have developed a really deep bond and trust before we can call ourselves good friends. That's not true. That is not true. Clubhouse has proven to us that it's not true. I'm so glad that Pete has joined us back on stage. I've known Pete for years. We've been in and around each other's orbit. Never met him. We've built up a really beautiful friendship and an admiration and respect for each other. First up, I want to introduce you to the amazing, amazing, amazing woman who kicked off this first ever 24-hour positive thinking summit for us last night at 8:00. She is a real testament of literally anything can happen. I have had the privilege of a front row seat for, must be, well, over 20 years. When I first met her, her son was a baby. In fact, no, her son hadn't even been born. And he's 25, 26 now. So I've witnessed the growth and the emergence of this. Has been a real phoenix rising from the ashes, and as she shares her story, you'll see why. I've witnessed when Yvonne J. Douglas, when she was Yvonne, not knowing who she was, Yvonne searching, looking for answers, to Yvonne today, the starseed alchemist, author of many books. She shared her story in her first book, Hungry for Love. And her last book, which was Journey of a Starseed, there was an Amazon bestseller, where she talks about her growth and her emergence and what that means and how it's going to impact humanity. But I don't want to tell Yvonne's story. That's her story to tell. So please, let's welcome to the stage Miss Yvonne J. Douglas. Yvonne, the mic is yours.
Gayle, why you do me like that? You got me in tears. Thank you so much for that amazing introduction. Thank you, Dr. Marina, for this summit. It's just amazing. It was such an honour to kick it off last night. I've had a good night's sleep. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to stay in the room, but I'm back for a little while. I do have clients to tend to afterwards, but hey, I'm here for a bit. Wow. Part of my story is that if you had told me now, back then, as when I was a child, that I'll be this person today, I would have told you to just get lost, basically, because my life was quite dismal. I was brought up in a very dysfunctional home. I suffered at the hands of my stepfather with a lot of psychological abuse and also sexual abuse that I didn't know until much later on in my life, because our brains are very clever. We can block out so much trauma, and this can affect our souls on so many deep levels. So that's what I did. I blocked out a lot of my trauma, and I just went through life feeling quite depressed. However, I learnt the knack of comedy, and I made people laugh. I laughed at myself before people could really see into my soul. And I just went through life as best I could. And I developed addictions, and my main addiction is food. And yeah, it was crazy because my weight fluctuated up and down, and I couldn't get a handle on it. And I grew up in a religion, Jehovah's Witnesses, which actually, when I came out of it, I realized there was a lot of brain conditioning, mind control. So I'm this confused young woman just trying to do the best she could in this world. I got married at 21, and I had 2 children for that, my husband, and that was in the religion. But then when my son was about 2, I started to really feel so depressed. I couldn't cope with life, and I had a bit of a breakdown. Things happened in the family that I couldn't cope with, and I just went into counselling. I went into counselling. I was in counselling for 7 years, uncovered a lot of stuff, but not everything, because food was still sort of playing its role, which was numbing a lot of my stuff and keeping lots of emotions down in my gut. So that marriage ended when I left. I also left the religion at that time, and I then went into a crazy, well, not crazy, but I lived my teenage years out in my sort of late 20s, early 30s, and it was a bit crazy. I started drinking a lot, I started smoking, and I was having a lot of fun clubbing, looking for love in all the wrong places, just being, well, fairly reckless, but still trying to hold down part-time jobs, looking after my children. But that got a bit tiresome, and I kind of slowed that down. Therapy was helping me a lot. And then I met my second husband. That lasted for 4 years. There was a lot of addiction in that marriage. And again, I had a breakdown, and I ended up in rehab. And that's where a lot of things really started to unfold for me. I was denied sugar and white flour products as a food addict. And after 3 days, I kid you not, the amount of things that came up for me was incredible. So much emotion and recovered memories of abuse. And that's where the real deep work started, actually. And it's been unfolding ever since. And I changed my career. I used to work in investment banking, but then I decided to become a coach and a counsellor. I went to university to study for counselling. And before I went to university, I was so nervous about going. I didn't even know which way to turn, how to look for a degree. It was just kind of mind-blowing for me, and I didn't feel confident about myself. However, I left university with a first-class honours degree, and that shocked me because I didn't think I was that bright, actually. I didn't think I was that capable, because my self-esteem had been so low for so many years. So going through this path, my self-esteem has just gone on and on. It's raised so much, and I have let go of so much trauma. And as I let go of the trauma, my soul expands and my heart expands. And in that development, I realized that I was a very powerful psychic, and things started to make sense when I look back in my childhood and things that I used to experience. And I've trained to be a Sakem energy healer. I've been pushed by spirit and friends to become a shamanic practitioner, which I am now. And last year, I became a sacred celebrant. I consider myself to be a goddess, a divine goddess, and I am very unapologetically one, and I help women, and I also help men also, to find the god, the goddess within them, to trust their intuitions, to tune into their emotions, to heal from their traumas, because it can be done, and I'm living to that. And even though the journey has been challenging, and I still face challenges even today, it's my passion. It's my passion to lead. I'm a visionary. I see a world, a new paradigm that is going to be so different from what I have experienced in the past. The human condition is being undone on so many levels for so many people. For the human collective, we are evolving to higher levels, and I am proud to be able to be here on this planet at this time to facilitate and help and be a part of it. I think I've done my 8 minutes.
Yes, you have done your 8 minutes, but guess what, Yvonne? It's not enough. It's not enough, because there is so much more to you, and we've got the time, because remember, we are all time benders, so we've got the time. What I'd like to hear a little bit more from you about is, I know you've shared your story of where you've come from. There's been a lot of talk on this summit about our future and our future selves. So I'd like to know a little bit more about your future self that you're creating, that you're in the process of creating, and how that's going to be impacting others.
I'm very much about the love revolution, because I witness how much, personally, how much our hearts are capable of love, because we are actually love. We are divine beings of love. And so I want to create the love revolution. I want people to fall in love with themselves like nobody's business. We can fall in love with other people and shower love onto other people more than we do for ourselves, when actually it should be the other way round. So that's what I want people to realize, that they can do that for themselves. So going forward, at the moment, I see quite a few clients on a regular basis as a counsellor, and I need to actually lessen that so I can have greater impact with larger audiences. So I am creating sacred healing ceremonies and healing retreats going forward. My one-to-ones, I now have to create a waiting list. I have got a waiting list, because I need to be able to focus on creating these larger events, so that, and I want to take it global as well, because it's important for us to come together, for us to see that we are never alone in our trials and tribulations and traumas. We are all suffering to some degree, some more so than others, but we all can relate to each other. And so the more we come together in places like this and in life, it really does help to make us let go of a lot of our shame, talk about our stuff, and free ourselves up and open us up to the divine and to this Christ energy that has been flooding through in the last few years. So that's my intention for the future. And also, as a sacred celebrant, I really want to do more naming ceremonies, i.e. wedding ceremonies, naming ceremonies, i.e. christenings, and also passing over ceremonies. I would like to be doing a lot more of that, to create just more joy and happiness in people's lives. And some of the healing ceremonies that I want to create, or I'm planning to create, are ceremonies where we can come together and we can dance, we can just get back to nature, we can really shake things out of our bodies and have fun as well, have fun in the process. Because let's face it, doing the shadow work, going through the dark night of the soul, isn't always pretty, but we can also do that in fun experiences. We can do that with fun things, because dance and music it's very healing. It's very healing to the soul, and we can use that to move forward in our lives. That's the plan. That's the plan.
Oh, thank you for that, Yvonne. And you mentioned about it's not fun when we go through the dark night of the soul. And you're right, it's not. It really isn't. But we can all do stuff to help raise our vibration. This is the Positive Thinking Summit. This is designed for all of us to share our stories, because when we share our stories, we change our story, but we don't just change it for ourselves, we change it for others as well. We give them hope, we give them inspiration, we're giving them encouragement, we're empowering them to just see things a little differently, be a little different, just to be themselves. I started this session by playing one of my favorite songs, Gonna Break Through, that always, every time, that song must be about, gosh, my daughter's 19, nearly 20, and I think I've been listening to that song from just after she was born. So it's not even a new song, but every time it feels new to me, because it gets me into that state that I need to be in to just keep going, to raise my resilience. So Yvonne, before you leave, I would like to ask you, in that same vein of fun and energy and song and what makes you dance, what is the song that inspires you?
Oh, there are quite a few actually, but the one that comes to mind, which I often play when I've left a relationship that's no longer serves me, I'm Coming Out by Diana Ross. I love that song because I feel like it really celebrates me and in all my juiciness and goddessness. And yes, I'm coming out.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Yvonne. I know that because you did kick off the summit for us last night, I know that time is of the essence with you, for you today. But I just want to thank you for honouring us with your gifts and for being here with us this morning, and also for sharing your song, because you know that's now going to be added to my playlist. So if you want a Positive Thinking Summit playlist, that's a song to add on to it. I'm Coming Out by Diana Ross. Put Mary J. Blige on there as well, Gonna Break Through, because every single day we can raise our vibrations. Dr. Marina and I have our BU Rich Daily Summit, a Rich Daily Rich Daily Inspiration Room, 15 minutes every morning. And Dr. Marine often plays a nice little happy song, to open the room. And these are the songs now that can be added to that playlist to help us even more. So thank you for that, Yvonne.
Oh,
Thank
you're so welcome. You're so welcome. And thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. All right.
you. Pleasure's all mine.
Thank you. Much love.
And before we go on to our next guest, I'd just like to invite Dr. Marina.
Can we all stand up? I'm standing up because this woman, she's a high priestess. She's somebody that you need to know better. So please.
I agree. I agree. Yvonne deserves her flowers without a doubt. You deserve your flowers, sweetheart. And it's such a pleasure. I cannot tell you often enough, but it really is such a pleasure to call you my friend. In fact, but even more than that, my soul sister. You have been there and you have shone your light, not just for me, but for many others too. And yeah, you deserve your flowers, as Dr. Marina says. That flash of appreciation. She opened the summit and she's opened this session. And again, the standard has been set. But I'm so pleased that we're not going to miss a beat here. That really spoke into my heart, because that's an experience I've had many times, and I know it's an experience that many of us in this room, many of us who are coaches, who are consultants, who are trainers, who are healers, who are therapists, those of us who have a deep desire to serve. And because we have such a desire to serve, the serving comes long before the payment, because the reward is in the serving, it's in the transformation, it's in the solution, it's not necessarily in the money. And I just wanted to really speak a little bit more into that, because yes, we're here to build a business. My business is all about helping people to stand up in their own hallelujah, to be really clear about who they are, to bring their purpose and their passion and their prosperity all together into one container. And sometimes that's challenging, because when we come from that place of purpose and passion, we just want to help. And those that we're helping often, for whatever reason, cannot see the value of the investment into themselves, but they know they need it. They know they need something. Sometimes, of course, it is due to genuine financial hardship, but sometimes it's because they just can't see themselves as they truly are. And it's our job to help them to do that. I hear people all the time say to me, but I know what my business is. I know how to talk about my business, but I'm just not earning any money. And I have to show them that let's bring it right down to the foundation of your identity. Who are you really at your core essence of your soul? Who are you really? And is that person the person that's standing up in your business? Is that the person that's posting on your social media? Is that the person that's connecting with the clients that you want to work with? And often it is not that person. Often it's the mask, the facade. It's the person that they think they have to be, not necessarily the person that they want to be, or even the person that they truly are. Pete said it beautifully in his session just over an hour ago. He spoke about your future self. And then we had Diana, who was also speaking about our future selves, designing our lives. And that's exactly the same with our business. Is not separate from ourselves. That's the space that I stand in, to show people that just because you have a business, it doesn't mean that you have to be anything different or anybody different than who you truly are. And your future self is just yourself today remembered. Your future self is the self you are today, but you have remembered who you truly are at your core and the essence. So when I talk about being daringly awesome, I'm daring you to let that true nature, that awesome person that's in there, come out, to remember them, to go back, revisit and think, well, who are you really? Who am I destined to be? And why am I covering this person up? Because look, I'm no different to anybody else, either in this room, listening to this on replay. I'm no different. Trust me, I have some really dark times, as Dr. Marina can tell you. But the one thing I know I have more than anything else, and this is the thing that I teach, is I am able to access that core of me really quickly. Speed is my middle name. Really, really quickly. The moment I remember, I'm right back there. And I can bring it out. And then I can take a nice deep breath. And I'm ready to go again. I'm ready to go again. And every single one of us has that attribute. Every single one of us. The moment we know who we truly are, we're able to access that person at will. We're able to be that person more of the time. The very fact that we're human beings means that we have this human experience that sometimes stops us. We get in our own way. We get in our own way, but we don't have to. It doesn't have to always be like that, because when we remember that foundation, that identity level, that's where we can go on to create more impact, to extend our influence beyond our existing horizons. Dr. Marina spoke about being the person that you can't even see yet, doing the things you can't yet even imagine. That's about extending your influence beyond your existing horizons. Imagine that. Imagine if the dream that you are currently dreaming is so exciting for you. It's doing everything it's supposed to do. It's driving you forward. It's getting you up in the morning. It's making you make those really fruitful, joyous connections and collaborations. But imagine if it was even bigger than that. Imagine if what's truly waiting for you is even bigger than that, but you just cannot yet see it. And all of that is fueled not by the next guru who's going to tell you their way, not by the next program or course that's going to tell you it's the magic blue pill. It's all fueled by you. You. That essence. That part of you that's yearning, absolutely yearning to be daringly awesome. That part of you that has already been daringly awesome, but you didn't take notice. You didn't realize because you thought, oh, it's nothing. Everybody does this. I'm nothing special. But you are. Oh, yes, you are. And I'm a great believer, big believer in that we teach what we most need to learn. So can you imagine if I'm teaching this, what I had to go through to learn it? And like Dr. Marina said, and Diana said earlier on, I don't want you to go through what I've been through. Because what I went through and what I still go through sometimes in order to find my voice and be my voice, it's not pretty. It really isn't. So today, Monday the 21st of March, I can stand up in my own hallelujah. And I'm grateful to every single person that helps me to do that. Because every single person that helps me allows me to help you. And you are that light for somebody else, even if you don't yet think so. You are. So on that note, I want to say thank you for being here in the audience, for sharing with us. This morning is just going to go on to get better and better right into the afternoon. We've got some amazing speakers lined up throughout the rest of the day. I've got my own session with, honestly, every single person that's going to be gracing the stage to share their story. You want to hear their story because every single person is the epitome of exactly what I've just spoken about. They've recognized who they truly are. They're sharing that gift. They're the light in someone else's dark hour, as Dr. Marina so beautifully says. Thank you for the space. The mic is yours, Dr. Marina.
Not so quick, Gayle.
Oh.
When I meant what we send our clients away while everybody's saying, oh, retain your clients because it's free marketing. We are doing the right opposite. Once you come to our harbor, we send you away. We send you away with everything you need for your journey. With Gayle, we decided to remove the myth around transforming yourself, about being yourself, and put together everything we both learned the hard way. A big price we had to pay for it. So we put together a 3-day retreat. When you go to the link, you'll join Rich Human Society, and in doing that, you'll have a huge discount just for becoming a member of Rich Human Society. It's by invitation only, of course, being a member. And you are here, we are inviting you. But once inside, you'll see that the retreat we are running for you is a fraction of the price. And why is that? It's not because you don't believe in our value. And I know what we deliver is priceless. You can't even put a price on it. We want your yacht to go places and you to send us cards, postcards, telling us how much you enjoy living your dream. This is why. It's designed with our hearts. And at the end of the 3 days, apart from the invisible transformation that you will feel, and you will know you are a new person, it's you, it's finally you, you found yourself, you'll have a visible product to show. A book that sells you. You'll publish it by the end of the 3 days retreat. You'll publish a book that sells you. Not the book that shares your knowledge or your wisdom. No, not that book. You will publish a book that sells you for your true price. I'm not going to go too much into details, but I will invite Gayle to take us to the 3 days process. Just briefly, the mic is yours, Gayle.
Thank you, Dr. The 3-day virtual retreat, which is happening actually, we were, I think the word is inundated, overwhelmed even by the amount of people we were coming across who have a book inside of them. They want to write their story. They want to write the story that really changed them, whether it's about their business. It's not, a lot of people want to write books about their business because they want to be the next Vishen Lakhani, who's the guy behind Mind Valley, or they want to be the next Seth Godin. But your story is about what is the process that you're using that's helping you, that can help others. What are the steps that you're taking? Because your story is so powerful. And what we're going to be doing with you through those 3 days is showing you how to craft that story that really helps to build your personal brand so that your book becomes almost your best and most powerful, most effective business card. When people want to know about Gayle Edwards, here you go, read about me and what I do and how I can help. It's almost like it's almost like the support to everything that you're currently doing. And people really struggle with that, really struggle. I'm overwhelmed by how many people come to me because they struggle with their own genius. They cannot articulate their genius. So if they can't articulate it to even speak about it, they most certainly cannot write it either. And that's what the 3 days is about. It's about helping you to really create that book. It doesn't have to be War and Peace, but it does have to represent you and genuinely help people. To sometimes people just cannot afford you. So give them another way. Give it to them freely. Give them another way. And that's what this book is designed to do. That's what those 3 days where we're going to be crafting that message, helping you to create the content, and then helping you to publish. So at the end of the 3 days, you come out with something tangible. You haven't just got a workbook of notes and now you have to go and figure it out yourself. You've got your book. That's the 3 days. Come and join us. Click the link above. You can find all the details there and sign up. And like we said, it is a fraction of the price because I wanted to make it affordable for people. These are tough times, and I wanted people to at least have, if not every chance, at least have this one chance to be able to do it and do it in a way that's going to be cost effective, but also extremely effective for building their personal brand and their business. Back to you, Dr. Marina.
We've been talking about solutions and how you are not recognized for the solution you bring and for everything you give. We've been talking about not having enough solution, and I was saying, no, we have all the solutions in the world for every single challenge. We just don't share enough those solutions. This is the book that sells you. This is the template for you to write as many stories as you want. We are giving you 3 steps, a system. Be seen, be heard, be you. There are different ways of doing that and becoming your best visible version, because right now, perhaps you, regardless what you do, you are still the best kept secret. So we are taking your invisible hat off, and we gave you the day 1 Identity Day, day 2 Impact Day, and day 3 Influencers Day, followed by the Influencer Gala. So celebrations are in order. I can't wait to see you there and see where we go next.
We are not going to miss a beat because every single person in this session they all deserve their flowers too. Beautiful. This stage, as you can see, is jam-packed, absolutely jam-packed with people who are all here for the same reason, to raise our vibes, raise our positive vibes, fill not just this room, not just the room that we're sitting or standing in, not just the people that are in our inner circle, but to literally raise the vibe of every single person every person that breathes the same air as us, every single person, is to raise their vibes. If every person that's in this room right now shares this room with at least 5 people, whether it be through their social media, whether it be here on Clubhouse, or just through sending the link to someone that you know, really could do with having their vibes raised right now. Please, can you do that? Pete was in the room 2 hours ago, and he got us to 70 shares 2 hours ago, and we are now only on 76. So that means only 6. This room has only been shared 6 times in 2 hours. But look at what you're witnessing. Feel how you're feeling. Surely that deserves more than 6 shares. I can think of many people right now who need to hear what's happening in this room. I'm going to be sharing away. So please, can I ask you to do the same? And remember, this is about us really listening to people's stories, listening to how they came to be who they are today. But that doesn't mean you can't reach out and connect to them. Speak to each other, to applaud the speakers, show your appreciation. Let us know, are we helping you? Are we moving you in some way? Let us know. It's just going to keep getting better and better. This next lady started out as a client of mine, actually, right here on Clubhouse. Again, never met in person, but we speak regularly, and I've got to know her heart. One of the things I have learned more than anything else from her has been the power of resilience. The power of when things go wrong, how do you gather yourself back together and bounce back? Because that has been an amazing story to watch unfold. Because Kim has been a successful and still is a very successful yoga instructor. She runs a very successful yoga business, but she wants to do more. She wants to do more. She wants to inspire more people to be successful in what they're doing. She wants to really help women who are caught in that trap of not knowing what to do next. She's got a big vision and a big mission, and she just keeps on going with it. And if that's not resilience, I don't know what is. So I'm really pleased to introduce Kim Pierpoint to the stage, who's going to share in the next 15 minutes or so part of her story and show you just how resilient she really is. So Kim, my friend, the mic is yours.
Gayle and everybody on this stage, it's such a privilege to be here today. Thank you for those super kind words. I wanted to really start today with the fact that what gets me through life is my humour, and I'm open to humour all the time. If it wasn't for humour, then perhaps the resilience wouldn't come and the emotions would take over. But I'm going to give you just a very quick plotted story of perhaps why Gayle has realised why the resilience exists, and for me, why humour is so important. I was born to loving parents, but the key to that was that I was born alone, because we're all born alone. The two things that I arrived with was my breath and love in my heart. I'm a big believer that we are born with endless amounts of love in your heart. How you manage that love and what you do with that love really is up to you. But my parents decided that their lives would not work together and they split. My mum then made some interesting decisions, none more so than marrying my stepfather, who was, and this is a difficult story even for me to share because it came with shame, but my stepfather was culturally different. It was a mixed marriage. He was Asian. And growing up in the 80s with that was shame for me. It wasn't shame for anybody else, but the marriage was volatile. There was domestic violence, there was alcohol, and there was a whole cultural issue of bringing up a white teenage girl into a potential Muslim background. The two did not work together. The domestic violence moved from not only to my mum, but to me, missing my brothers on the way through, and eventually the marriage disintegrated. As I became older, I became quite sexually aware, and I dallied with sexual promiscuity, probably because I was looking for quick shots of love. But really, I was scared of long-term relationships. When I tried long-term relationships, they in turn were also volatile, choosing the wrong guys, some whose activities were nothing to do with the way that I wanted to live my life, motivated by theft, petty crime, drugs. I even managed to choose a really great guy who thought that when the relationship finished, he would stalk me for 3 years. That stalking led to 3 visits to the court with injunctions. So my resilience up until about 32 was quite tested. But all the way through on that, there was nothing that did not happen that didn't make me laugh on the way through. I always found some humour, even amongst all of those quick pinpoints of those stories. I knew that I had humour to carry me, but I also knew that I had love to give. And what I found best of all was being in front of people. I loved to be in front of people. So after going through college, I went to agricultural college, I studied horticulture, and then I went on to teach people horticulture, landscaping, conservation. I moved into charity work, training people how to use gardening as a therapy. But I burnt out on the way. And that's when I discovered yoga. And yoga for me was when I walked through that very first time I walked through the door, I was entering that door as an 8-year-old once again, thinking that I was going to a gymnastics class. I thought I was super bendy. I thought that's what it was all about. But that true love for yoga unfolded the day that I walked into that class, because there was nothing about that class that was about the movement. It was about reconnecting to the love that resided deep within myself. It was about connecting to my breath, and I began to find my soul and actually began to find my voice. I looked at the teacher at the front and thought, I can do that. And within 5 years, I was a qualified yoga teacher. And that story really started in about 2006. That yoga has led me on and on to reconnect to my soul, to reconnect to my vibration, and to open up my energy. But all those things I have just told you about, all those little stories, and that was just a very basic plotted history. All those things have given me the resilience, the love, but most of all, the laughter. Everything I have just spoken about fills me, it triggers me, it makes me feel weird, it makes me feel uncomfortable, but it's made me this person. And each of those incidences, there were funny times. My stalker threw himself in front of my car and then turned around and said that I had run him over. There was nothing more funny than the person throwing themselves on a car that was pulling out of a parking space. I couldn't have been doing more than 2 miles. It was a hysterical situation. The chap that I chose, who was highly into his drugs, he used to hide things in my car, and it was just crazy, but it made me laugh at the time. Even my stepfather, as violent as he was, there were times when we laughed hysterically together, because each of these times there was humour available. So as I've moved through my life, met my husband, settled down, become more stable as a person, everything settled until I hit midlife. I realised that all those things that had happened, I didn't need to hang on to. They weren't shame. They weren't embarrassment. They was what made me this person. Then my hormones kicked in. That was really interesting. That set me off on another story, and it made me realise that midlife is the best life, best time for me, the best time to reshape who I am, to look back on all the experiences that I've been in, and to enable myself to share this love, this humour, but most of all, to share it with the women that need me now. The women that are out there that haven't yet discovered that their story has shaped them, that their story has made them the resilient woman that they are. The things that help me get through to give me the resilience, number one is my breath. My breath is my best friend. When I walked up on this stage today, I'd stopped and I was listening to Diana, and I took 3 long breaths. I regrouped, I sat up, and I told myself my favourite joke, which I was sharing at the end. I smiled, and I realised that it's my time to share my story with you, to let my soul open out, and to let you know that being vulnerable doesn't mean you can't be resilient, that you are full of endless amounts of love. So if you're somebody that's thinking, how did this person get on a yoga mat and find out all these bits and pieces? When you move your body, you discover that you are perhaps not able to move your body the way that you used to, and you start to reconnect with your inner being. And when you start to reconnect with your inner being, you stop living in your head, and you start to realize that you are not really all these thoughts, that you are more than these thoughts. For me, the whole point of yoga is to reconnect to my breath, to find my energy, to reconnect to my soul, and doing that through movement is absolutely the best way for me. But my body has changed in this midlife, so I've had to slightly reshape how I work. And I'm doing that now by working with the women in midlife who perhaps have lost their way like myself, and finding ways to be able to reconnect, to look for the ways that, to look at their lives and find what they want, to notice their dreams, to reshape their dreams, to reprioritize their dreams. And my soul unfolds every day. As I open myself up, I receive communications. These communications might come from spirits, they might come from inner voices, they might come from my intuition. I'm deeply connected to synchronicities. Synchronicities show up every single day for me. I might see a white feather. I might notice the clock at 11:11. I might notice that the man that walks his dog past my window comes past every single day, because I'm becoming more and more in tune with the present moment. I'm beginning to notice how grateful I am for where I am. I'm grateful for my story. I'm grateful for the home that I have. I'm grateful for all the belongings and the stuff in my life, because sometimes we forget to give thanks. And I'm aware that my energy is changing. I am becoming me. I had someone come to me last week who said, I've been looking at working with somebody to help me on my next level or my next phase. And I thought I was going to work with X, Y, and Z, but you just talked to me. And I'm a believer that the energy that I'm feeling on the inside is what I'm showing on the outside. I know that my heart is opening, and as I said at the beginning, I arrived with nothing but my breath and love. And my heart is opening to give you all this endless amount of love that I've been born with. It's here to share. It's here to give. Not only am I going to give it to you and to everyone else in the world, I'm damn sure I'm going to give it back to myself. I'm going to make sure I love myself as much as I love you guys. So I'm going to end here with a couple of things. Number one, my favourite joke. You're going to either love it or hate it. Big drum roll. What's the difference between a stoat and a weasel? A stoat is totally different, and a weasel is weaselly identified. Boom, boom. I'm also going to give you my favourite song. as we have been asked to share our favourite song that helps us in our lives. And the song that I find that I turn to week in, week out is Kelly Clarkson's Stronger. And she says in her lyrics, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stand a little taller. Doesn't mean I'm lonely when I'm alone. What doesn't kill you makes you a fighter. Footsteps even lighter. Doesn't mean I'm over because you're gone." So that's me, Kim Pierpoint, midlife soul coach, yoga teacher, full of laughter, resilience, and with endless amounts of love for myself and for everybody else. Over and out, ding dong, done.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah, Kim. Hallelujah. And I know Kim knows exactly what I mean when I say this. Midlife soul coach. Hallelujah, Kim. And thank you for your story. And this is why I love doing this. I love hosting these sessions because I get to find out more and more about the people that I choose to spend my time with. Because there was so much in your story, Kim, that I didn't know. Even when I chose that word resilience for you, I had no idea it was going to unfold into the beautiful, moving story that you've just shared with us. So I appreciate and applaud you, Kim. And I know that there are so many others that do as well. And all the time, my mantra is that our purpose and our passion leads to our prosperity. It really does. And you have illustrated that so beautifully for us. Because look at what you're doing now. Look at what you're doing now. And that was born from where you have come from. Ah, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. And Kelly Clarkson is another one for our positive thinking, daringly awesome playlist. Kelly Clarkson Stronger. I'm coming out. And I know that if I'm moved like this, I know that so many others are too. Thank you, Kim. And we're just over halfway through our daringly awesome session here on the very first, not the second, the very first 24-hour positive thinking summit, brought to you by Rich Woman Magazine and Rich Woman Society, both of which have been founded by Dr. Marina. I would just encourage you, for those of you that are not yet part of that wonderfully vibrant community, that community that does exactly what it says on the tin. It helps us to become rich women. But we have many rich men within the community too. And if you want to be a part of that, just click the link and see how being a part of Rich Women can help you to find your story and also share your story. We know when we share our story, it changes our story. It changes it not just for us, but for others too. Listening to Kim and Yvonne before her, I know that there have been parts of me, parts of my story that have been forever changed through them sharing theirs. I want to personally say thank you to every single one of the ladies that graced this stage during this session. I mean, how lucky am I? I'm receiving messages from them saying, thank you, Gayle. And no. The thanks is all mine. The thanks is all mine. I thank you. I feel so humbled and so blessed to be able to call each of you my friends. You guys are the ones that I can call up and say, hey, I need a favor. Are you able to do this? Are you able to do that? Yes, I am, Gayle. How wonderful is that for me? And that's because you guys have been brave enough. You have been bodacious enough to strip yourselves bare and share your story with the rest of us. You have been exactly what I speak about all the time. You are standing up in your own hallelujah and being your naturally authentic, daringly awesome selves. So I just want to say thank you again. Thank you to Dr. Marina for providing this wonderful space for us. I'm going to be back here this afternoon at 4 o'clock GMT time, when I will be sharing part of my own story in the From Bottom to Top section with Dr. Aisha Hogan. But I just want to say my story wouldn't even be a story if it weren't for many of you guys here on the stage today. Thank you, Dr. Marina.
Wow. I stood up for this session. I couldn't help it. I had to dance. I had to ovate. Takes a lot of courage. And courage, I can't remember. I think Mark Twain said courage is resistance to fear, mastery of fear, not absence of fear. So I know that we don't even begin to imagine what you've been through to get to the self-mastery you are at. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for remembering who you are. Actually, you are already. Thank you for remembering who you are. The sooner you remember who you are, the better for everyone else. So, really taken by surprise by this summit. I thought the last one was the best one, and that seems like a distant memory. I know we are work in progress, and I know there is very little I can do by myself. There is very little you can do by yourself. But together is so much to be done. And I see this stage, I see these moments of truth as the beginning of something personally I never imagined. And I like that. I like to step into the unknown. I don't like to think, oh, I know where we are going. I have to be honest. I don't know. I don't have a clue. And the more I say this, the more people think, oh, she doesn't have a clue. No, I don't. Because we can make as many plans as you want, business plans, any kind of plans. But there is a divine plan. And I think we are in. I think we are all in. Wow. What a total alignment in this summit. Who arrived to Canada, to America, to, of course, to Great Britain, and to Australia and places in South America. The messages I receive, I think I have to say this. I'm so proud to live in Great Britain. I can't tell you. How proud I am to call London my hometown, and knowing you and knowing that we are going to have an event together. The one where we can hug each other, right? I want to go out with you. Do you understand? Oh my God, this is a beautiful, beautiful time to. Sometimes I know there is this feast for the soul where everybody's bringing their food and feeding the hungry, and it is really the not knowing what everybody brings at the table, but knowing that this is your table and you are home. This is all that matters. And it's definitely, I am in competition with myself. I'm always in competition with myself. I'm telling you now, I'm so much richer than before I met you. So much richer, and I want to thank you. And talking of what I bring at the table, it's who the universe brings at our table. I have to deliver you a gift, a God-sent gift
This episode is sponsored by MTN Press. MTN Press is the publishing house behind niche publications like Rich Human, Sovereign, and the Quantum of Light magazines, all British brands with a global reach. They deliver the good news straight to the desk of decision makers, the CEOs, presidents, CFOs, consultants, investors, influencers, bankers, PR agencies, heads of global operations, to name just a few. They also offer specialized support through a range of bespoke services, tools, and systems to help publishers like you grow both their presence and business. Whether you are running a blog, a niche magazine, or thinking to start one, their expert knowledge in the world of publishing can give you the tools and the expertise and the confidence you need to succeed. Check them out at mtnpress.co.uk or follow the link in the episode description.